everyone, and welcome to this video tutorial. So in this one I'm just going to show you how I painted the gold armor on this Sanguinius commission that I've completed. So I started by zenithal priming the model, starting with black and then airbrushing with the light grey and then white over that. That just helps to give you a nice base of where your highlights and your shadows are going to go. So starting off, I'm using scale 75 decayed metal. And as you can see, I'm just spraying that into the shadows and really focusing it in on those areas. And it's kind of a matter of, as you can tell, spraying at the model from underneath and really targeting those shadow areas. Decayed metal's a really nice color. It's close to a bronze, but it's a lot more rich and warmer. And it's just really nice for shading golds. My apologies for the camera going out of focus with the airbrush up close. It kind of tricks it a little bit, so yeah, my apologies for that. Hopefully you can still kind of see what's going on with what I'm doing. Okay, so we're moving on to the next paint now, and we're working with scale 75 Victorian brass. So this is a really nice rich gold, and it's quite similar to Games Workshop's Citadel Retributor armor. Applying that through the airbrush again, and as you can see, I'm focusing on the areas that basically don't have any paint on at the moment. Those white areas that are showing through. And on the chest there you can particularly see where a lot of the decayed metal ended up. And that's fine, even though I was supposed to be focusing that in the shadow areas. That's kind of given us a basis for some of the shadows in those areas as well. It starts to establish some of those details becoming defined as we spray the Victoria brass over the top from above. It leaves the decayed metal in the shadows. It helps us to kind of make those little details and all the finery of his armor to just stand out a little bit more. So as you can see, I'm kind of just going back and forth and just layering it up. It does go on a little bit thin, and that's fine. It's better to have nice thin layers than anything too thick. So yeah, I'm just making sure that that's building up a nice rich layer and giving us a good gold. Alright, so this next step, we're really just starting to make the gold pop. And so what we're using is P3 brass balls, and again using the airbrush, I'm really just focusing on applying it to the very tops of the highlights. And it's just really accentuating the shine on the gold. Brass balls is quite similar to Citadel's Liberator Gold. It just has a bit more of a concentration in the yellow, and that's what gives it that really nice richness to it. Alright, so from here what I'm going to do is apply a gloss varnish. I'm using Vallejo gloss varnish, which comes in their dropper bottle, and I like to thin that 50-50 with water. And that's basically, it's going to establish what we're going to be doing with this step now, which is applying a bit of a shading to the armor. If you're familiar with the term of pin washing, that's basically what we're doing now. So the gloss varnish helps to create a smooth surface on the model, and it basically breaks the surface tension. And what that means is it allows, as you can see, it allows this wash that I've got to flow around the recesses and stops it from pooling on the surface. So the wash itself is a 2-to-1 mix of Cygor Brown and Shaiish Purple, which are both contrast paints. And I've thinned them down about 50% with just with water. It helps just to kind of dilute a little bit. You could go on and use them straight from the bottle. It might be a bit too strong. So just thinning them out with the water not only helps to tone them down a little bit, but it also helps it to flow a little bit better because it's not quite as thick and viscous. So as you can see, it's really nice for going around these little details like this, the filigree and all the little finery of his armor. I think without applying this stage, those kinds of details and things just wouldn't stand out enough. Alright, so the next step is to start applying some highlights. So I'm reintroducing the brass balls, but I've mixed it with Vallejo Model Air Chrome. It's about 3 parts brass balls to 1 part chrome. But I also added a touch of the Eandon Yellow contrast paint. What that does is it helps to just bring back a bit of the yellow. The chrome is quite bright, and it does tend to dull down whatever you mix with it. And that's why I've just introduced a little bit of yellow to it, just to bring back that colour. So as you can tell with this stage, it's really a matter of picking out the details, using the edge of the brush to work on picking out that filigree and the edges of the sharp parts of his armour, and just really helping to accentuate the shine on the gold. Alright, so for the final stage, we're just applying some very sharp, bright, and quite minimal highlights. And we're using just the Vallejo Model Air Chrome by itself. As I mentioned, it's a very strong and bright metallic silver, and it just really helps to just further accentuate the details, helps to bring back a bit of shine in the gold. We don't want to go too crazy with this, just keeping it quite minimalistic, as I said, just really picking out the sharp highlights, because if we apply too much, it will start to make the gold look a little bit too dull. We still want to reserve all of that richness of the armor, so don't go applying too much. As you can see, I'm just being very careful with how I'm applying it, just in very select areas, just kind of getting those little pops of light. Alright, so there's the end result. I hope this video has been enjoyable in showing you quite a quick and effective way of painting true metallic metal gold. This was the commission for my premium tabletop quality, which is my lowest level. So just, yeah, quite an easy way to produce a gold for the tabletop. Thank you so much for your continued support through Patreon, because it's your support that makes it possible for me to make these videos. So thanks.